Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, get the latest from the state capitol in our weekly legislative update. Also tonight, hear from an opponent of Phoenix's 35-year transit plan. And we'll learn about a breakthrough in the study of brain tumor treatments. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Lawmakers are working to end the legislative session in the next few weeks, but that means getting through a variety of bills, including the apparent return of controversial voter reforms. With the latest, we welcome Ben Giles of the Arizona Capital Times. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I remember a couple of years ago, this election law went through, and then opponents were so upset they got 146,000 signatures, and so the legislature said, "Up, we're repealing it." And they're not going to bring it back piecemeal. They're bringing it back piecemeal.
That's exactly what's happening now. Yeah, there's been a few provisions this year, but none more controversial than the one that was struck onto a bill this morning. And this is a ban for volunteers working for political committees from collecting mail-in ballots from voters and turning them in. It's called ballot harvesting, and this was one of the major concerns, especially for the Latino community, which has used this as a get out the vote effort for the minority community, widely used in elections, and it's seen by Democrats and by the Latino community as an effort to stamp out turning out minority voters in Arizona.
What is the argument from Republicans?
The argument is that there might be some sort of fraud, that with ballot harvesting there's an opportunity for the ballots to be tampered with. There's no evidence to support that claim. That there's been numerous reports about there's no ballot fraud in Arizona. There's only been a few cases in the last few decades, as far as I can remember, of anyone trying to do this, and it hasn't even necessarily been in this ballot harvesting field. And you've had Republican lawmakers who, as you said, in 2013, when they went back, or actually in 2014, when they went back and repealed the law that they passed in 2013, were understanding the will of the voters here. They were going to repeal this on the ballot themselves. But the reason they did that is because they didn't want the repeal to be voter protected.
Yes.
As anything is that's approved on the ballot by voters. They wanted the ability to have flexibility to go back in and adjust these voter laws. And that's why everyone has been watching out for this sort of piecemeal legislative action.
Last question on this. Secretary of State Reagan was very much involved with this when she was a lawmaker. Is she commenting on the apparent return?
The latest from the Secretary of State's office is that she is all on board with this, and this has been a flip-flop for Secretary Michelle Reagan. She was very involved in, I think it was HB 2305 when the bill passed in 2013, and then involved in the repeal of it to, again, respect the will of the voters, the 140,000 or so who signed on to get it to the ballot. And she actually told the Arizona Capital Times last fall that she was now against banning ballot harvesting. So this is another flip-flop back to being for it and supporting the measure.
The governor, as we move on, the governor wants to create an inspector general to investigate what?
To investigate fraud and waste in government. And the interesting thing about that is if you ask Attorney General Mark Brnovich, there already is an inspector general. It's him. That's his duty. And this is one of those cases where you have two of the top elected officials in the state, Republican officials, who are disagreeing with each other. Brnovich is saying this bill is unnecessary.
Why is the governor saying it is necessary? And by the way, the governor not only wants this inspector general, a new position, they keep hearing about small government. This is yet another position, A. Mm-hmm. And B, the reports would be kept secret?
Yeah, the reports would actually be punishable under a misdemeanor if they were released. If anyone tried to release the work of the IG's office here that Ducey is trying to create, it would be a very secretive office. And yes, there was discussion today in committees about this bill, and it's one of several bills that are kind of being pushed through at the last second here because we've only got, by some estimates, as many as 2.5 weeks left for the session. That there are already IGs at agencies, and of course there is already the Attorney General, and that's a part of his duties. So I don't know that all the lawmakers are convinced that this is truly necessary.
And this, again, answers to the governor.
To the governor, yes.
Okay, so it won't be investigating the governor, just answering to the governor.
I suppose it could investigate fraud and waste in the governor's office, but that is the concern. If it's answering directly to the governor, how much of an investigation would there be?
And you'd never know.
You'd never know.
Before you get out of here now, the confirmation hearing for Greg McKay, DCS head Greg McKay. Interesting in that there's a whistleblower complaint out there. How is that playing into the confirmation?
At least today, not at all. There is a whistleblower complaint that was filed by the General Counsel of the Department of Child Safety. It was sent to Governor Ducey's office. Obviously, if you're going to file a whistleblower complaint against the head of an agency, you've got to go one over that agency head, and this General Counsel went to the governor. Now the governor's attorneys are complaining that this is attorney-client privilege, that this is privileged information that can't be released. And even that privilege outweighs the public's right to know, in this case, what that whistleblower complaint was. And they have acknowledged, Attorney Mike Liberty for Governor Ducey has acknowledged that the complaint was filed under whistleblower laws, but then they're citing other laws and case laws and ethics for attorneys that say we can't give up this information.
Still in all, is keeping it secret legal?
That's unclear. That's actually being debated right now, and it's unsure. We've been talking with attorneys who say, while there's not necessarily anything inherently wrong with what the governor is arguing, it would not maybe stand up in court, because it's a tough argument to make that the general counsel for this agency, for the Department of Child Safety, is actually Ducey's attorney as well. That's one of the sticking points that is being discussed. And of course, the appointment did occur in the Senate Health Committee today. It never even came up in questioning of Greg McKay, and he was appointed 7-0, and he still requires an appointment by the full Senate before it goes into effect.
So the whistleblower wasn't brought up, the fact that an investigative unit was booted after they investigated him wasn't brought, none of that was brought up?
There was also former Director Charles Flanagan's his own fraud and waste unit within the agency that was disbanded by Greg McKay, that we learned had been investigating him. McKay's claim was that this is actually just a measure to improve the efficiencies of DCS, to make sure that we're using all of our resources to help children, not necessarily investigate people within the department working for it.
All right, Ben Giles, Arizona Capital Times, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Phoenix City Council has approved a $32 billion, 35-year transportation plan that would expand light rail and bus service and also improve city streets. We recently heard from a member of the committee that came up with the plan. Today, we hear from an opponent, local activist Becky Finger. Good to see you again.
Nice to be here, Ted.
All right, let's talk about this thing. 32
Yes,
some odd
can
billion.
we talk?
32 some odd billion dollars, 35 years. What's the problem?
First of all, it's such a bad idea on so many levels. And I always have to bring up, that it will buy us more pollution and congestion. We can never forget that fact. But it'd be laughable if it weren't prepared to hurt so many low-income people. And it is another thing, when we are through with all of this, we are going to turn around and now ask the taxpayers for a high-speed rail from Phoenix to Tucson, and then a freeway from Phoenix to Las Vegas. In fact, the Deputy Secretary of Transportation flew into Phoenix to say, wait a minute, Phoenix, you better take it a little easier on $35 billion because we want all these other goodies down the road, and they're fighting over the goodies.
Let's get to the impact on lower income people. 0.3%. How damaging is that?
Well, that's one mistake they make. It's 0.7%. It's due to expire in 2020, making it zero.
Right.
So you cannot say it's 0.3%, it's 0.7%, because it would go away if they weren't doing this. And I absolutely tired seeing these cups of coffee and say it'll cost you like a cup of coffee. What we have to think about, Ted, is the opportunity cost, what we're not spending on. This is not of the people, by the people, for the people. This is of the fat cats, by the bureaucrats, for the unions. And you could be having, if you want transit, you could do so much more on putting that towards buses and bus rapid transit. Light rail is just a poor way to get around.
But the half of the tax revenue does go to bus service, and a third of the tax revenue does go to street improvement, with only 17% to light rail. That sounds like a pretty good investment in bus service.
They come out with those numbers, but when you talk to them more, it's going to be $2.3 billion goes to street improvements. And their numbers are not solid. I can't wait to see what it says for the ballot, because they're saying that, it's so much going to go to street improvements, and when you get down to it, what is that $2.3 billion in street improvements? This is what they did last time. It's promises, and then you don't get it. From the vote that we had in 2000 and those taxes they promised street improvements, we don't have that. The first thing it goes to is light rail.
So you're saying when they say half of tax revenue will go to bus service, they're lying?
Right.
When they say that a third goes to street improvement, they're lying?
Yes, because what they have done on this, their plans, they said, well, which one is going to be light rail, which one is going to be buses? They said, well, we haven't decided that yet. That is the big trick. That's what they did last time. In fact, we almost have, you could say we could sue them, because last time they actually put a map on the ballot of what was going to be done, and that was never done. They changed their minds. If this was done to get the poor, lower income people to their jobs and to church and that, why wasn't the first line into South Phoenix? It has nothing to do with moving people. Now the big thing is, as Marty Schultz says, transportation drives the economy. And then he said, but freeways don't drive the economy. Light rail drives the economy. Well, what you're doing what is that? Again, it's for the fat cats that have the real estate along the lines. It does not do it for the people. Light rail will always suck the money away from buses. They will shut down bus service if people don't get on the rail.
Are you against this plan in general, or the tax hike in general? I mean,
No, you can hike taxes if it makes sense, but light rail is the poorest way to move people from point A to point B. Only 1% of people ride transit, 0.5% ride
Are you saying that light rail has not helped the development of downtown Phoenix, downtown Tempe, downtown Mesa?
What has helped is taking taxpayer money to put the light rail in, instead of having the developers pay for it themselves. If it is so great, Marty says, we've got $3.5 billion of investment. Do the $7 billion of investment by yourselves then. Why should we be supporting developers who could well pay for that themselves?
Would a developer pay for that themselves if there were? I mean, I don't want to do chicken and egg here. But developer's not going to be interested unless there's something there. Pro side says light rail is something there, and you can't. It'd be hard to deny that downtown Tempe, Mesa, and Phoenix have not seen a boon since this light rail has gone in.
Let me give you an example about this. Jerry Colangelo had planned a way to, and he talked with transit people to get a system of whatever it was to get people down to his sports venues. And then Along came the light rail and people talking about, well, we can get a light rail and you won't have to pay for it. He had already contracted with them. Yes, they will do it.
Okay, so you're saying that development, good things will happen in Arizona,
Yes.
you just don't have to put in light rail, expand the bus service.
Oh, bus rapid transit is very popular. The commuter lines are very popular. Customized, downsized, privatized, get jitney service type in, very popular.
And in 30 seconds or less, explain to me how light rail, mass transit increases pollution. You started off by saying that.
Okay.
Quickly, please.
All right, because it's built at grade. And when you do that, you are taking away 3 lanes of traffic where cars could be whizzing by, and now traffic is backed up at the stoplight, and it is spewing carbon monoxide into the air. So when you take away all those lanes of traffic that are just zooming by with all these people, the 99% of the people that drive cars, for the 1% of the people, it's ridiculous to take all that money. Ted, it's just ridiculous.
All right, well, we've had the pro side on, we've now had your side on, and I'm sure the debate will continue. Thank you so much for
it's-
joining us.
Thank you.
Brain tumor experts at Barrow Neurological Institute in Phoenix have teamed with the Ben and Catherine Ivy Foundation, the Translational Genomics Research Institute, or TGen, and the Barbara Ann Karmanos Cancer Institute to launch a new fast-track approach to shorten the evaluation of drug therapies for brain tumors. Here to explain is Dr. Nader Sanai, Director of the Barrow Brain Tumor Research Center, and Dr. Michael Behrens, TGen's Deputy Director for Research Resources. Good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much.
All right, now this is a fast-track approach, and it's called a phase 0 trial. What is this?
That's right. So phase 0 trials are basically a way of testing a drug very quickly and finding out 2 things. Is the drug getting to the tumor, and is it doing what it's supposed to be doing based on the laboratory studies?
And this is done by, okay, you treat the patient, you remove the tumor, and then you watch the tumor, correct?
Basically, so the patients get a dose of the drug before their operation. So what we're able to do is then remove their tumor, then test that tumor and say, did the drug make it there, and is the tumor responding to this drug?
This sounds like something that should have been thought of. Am I missing something here? Because this sounds pretty logical.
Well, it's very logical, but I think most drug development in the past, you could tell if the drug got to the tumor if the tumor responded. But brain tumors create a very different kind of scenario where the growth of the tumor in the brain is behind what's called a blood-brain barrier. So a lot of drugs that are used for other cancers are tried against brain tumors, and the success rate of those trials is very small. And we began to ask, well, why would that be so poor? And we're realizing we need better information about, does a drug even get to the tumor?
And so again, when you remove it, after treating it before removal, you can then watch what happens because the drug is still doing its business, correct?
That's right. So you've had an opportunity to expose the tumor to the drug, and then you can ask that question quickly. And the reason that's valuable for our patients is that way, they don't have to enter a study and then find out 5 weeks or 5 months later it didn't work. We can find out immediately whether or not it's going to work or not.
How does this differ from traditional studies of brain tumors? Is that basically what happened?
Yeah, so basically the FDA commissioned a study a few years ago and asked, well, why are all of our drugs failing for brain tumor patients? And what they found was that for the majority of new drugs, what they do in humans is not exactly what they thought they would do based on the laboratory studies. So there's a mismatch between what we're learning in the lab and what's happening in us humans. And so then they introduce this mechanism.
Is that unusual or unique to brain tumors, or do you see that often where something that should be doing X is really kind of doing Y?
Well, it is definitely a case for brain tumors. Another tumor that commonly walls itself off with connective tissue or pancreatic cancers. They tend to be very difficult tumors to get drugs to. So a phase 0 trial would be interesting in that case, or developing ways to create a way for more drug to get to the tumor. But in the case of the brain tumor, it's pretty clear what the anatomical or the structural problem is, this blood-brain barrier. And this is a great solution to say, gosh, we've got all these great drugs out there for other cancers. Which ones can we use against brain tumors? Now this is a fast way to figure that out.
So brain tumors and pancreatic cancer, very similar in the sense that they have these barriers. And now you can remove the tumors and again, watch what happens after. It's almost like, sounds like Dr. Frankenstein or something. You remove and then watch.
Well, it's not a real-time progression of watching what happens to the tumor after it's removed. We do an analysis that says, can we find the drug in the tumor?
Yeah.
So that destroys part of the tumor when you look for the drug there. And then we also look for signals that the drug hit the target. So did the square peg get into the square hole for the tumor? And do you see the change in the biochemistry that says, wow, the drug got there, it hit the target, and the consequences the drug is supposed to cause were actually happening. And that's exciting to be able to piece that together on a patient-by-patient basis.
Oh, it sure is. Why is this happening now?
Well, you know, the field has been very slow to recognize the fact that a lot of our efforts just haven't panned out the way we'd like. And 30 years ago, many people thought we'd have cured brain tumors by now, and we still haven't done it. So it's just a massive rethink that's happening in the field. Plus, there are market forces within pharmaceuticals that make studies like this really more viable.
I was going to say, the market forces would suggest that a quicker turnaround is a lot more amenable to getting more folks even involved, correct?
Absolutely. Many big pharma companies have been burned in this field. The market size is not as large as other cancers, and so as a consequence, there's less of a desire to really enter it when it's long-term prospects plus high cost.
Is this the kind of thing that's happening around the world and it's just new to the U.S., or is this just new, period?
Well, I think it's spearheaded in the U.S. And there are bright groups that are committed and involved, and there are courageous patients that are saying, we're willing to be part of this. How do we help advance the field, and how can you learn about my cancer on the patient-by-patient basis? So the courageous patients say, let's work together and make a difference. And then you get groups like the Ben and Catherine Ivy Foundation that say, how can we make something happen that otherwise might move slow or not happen at all? And so that support to do the trial comes together and good things happen.
So you're talking evaluations cut from maybe 5 years to 6 months, something along these lines?
That's right. A typical trial takes 6 months to complete. For a typical patient, they get the answer in 2 weeks. So basically, before they've even fully recovered from surgery, they already know whether or not this drug is going to be good for them or not. And if it's not, they can move on to the next candidate. And if it is, then this is definitely an option.
How do you move on to the next candidate? Because you've already treated with, drug X again. I mean, if it's not working, how do you get drug Y in there?
That's right. So the reason that we give them such a short course of the drug is so that it won't interfere with subsequent therapy. So actually, they're open to have any other experimental therapy available to them once the trial is over, which is over shortly after surgery.
And these trials started when?
Late last year.
Last year. And how? And I mean, what kind of results? What kind of response are you getting from all this?
Well, the response can be in various ways. One is, does this drug that we're studying, inhibitor of one of the mechanisms for cell growth, does it get to the tumor? And we'd say the early look says, we think there's reason to continue the study. We're seeing that drug gets to the tumor, so that's exciting. And we're seeing some signals of efficacy. So we'll finish the full study. I think it's 24 patients that will be evaluated, and we'll collect various parameters around the study. So it's positive, and we hope that it leads to ways for us to know which patients should get this drug.
Oh, interesting, yes.
And then we start to really customize the treatment to the patients.
It's more the sniper as opposed to the elephant gun kind of a thing here.
Yeah.
And you mentioned
Exactly.
pancreatic cancer. Can this be used by way of treating other cancers?
Sure, it can. And so the similarities between brain tumors and pancreatic cancer are at several levels. I mean, these are two of the least survivable tumors available. At the same time, we have very few drugs for either. So yeah, this approach works for other tumor types as well.
Well, congratulations to both of you. Very encouraging news. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very
Absolutely.
much.
Thursday on Arizona Horizon, hear from both sides on a bill that would ask voters to reconsider the Clean Elections campaign finance system. And we'll learn about an art auction designed to help the Phoenix Art Museum. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.